Who'da thunk it? After Hours reunion. Oh my god, it's actually happening. They decided to let me talk first for no particular reason. I'm Michael Swaim, here with Daniel O'Brien, Soren Bowie, Katie Willert, and a photograph of director Abe Epperson. This is a charity stream first and foremost, so everyone, thank you for joining us. Just want to say, don't forget to scroll down directly below the video, copy and paste that link to give to a great cause, the CDC COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund. We have raised thus far, let me refresh, $2,611.69. Kids. So let's keep that going. Our loose goal is $5,000. We'd love to get there. Make sure to donate. That's what it's all about. I think that's why Daniel tested the waters in the first place, right, Daniel? You got this whole thing going.
Yeah, I feel like several months ago, when all of this horrible nonsense started, you got to see people using their platforms, big and small, to make some kind of difference. And like very early on, I thought we've got this after hours thing that we did for years that people seem to like, and we certainly enjoyed doing. And I thought if there's any way that we can come together and raise some money, let's do that. Since then, we've been blown out of the water by like Parks and Recreation reunions and platforms much larger than ours. And here we come,
John
stumbling in.
Yeah. John Krasinski's monetizing a lot better than we are, frankly.
Right.
Abe, I love you giggling from behind the single finger. It's so great.
It's hard to make sound and hold my finger up the whole time.
Don't cut to him. Oh, shout out to Jordan Parkhurst, our amazing producer, who made all this like technology work magically. It was just going to be boxes, you guys. I'm amazed by like this here. That's amazing. What do we do, guys? We want to do the Q&A after, right? Should we just do the read?
Yeah, we can set up the read just for everyone's edification. This was written, it's got to be in 2018. There was a planned finale for this show, like finale for this version of the show, because the show would keep going on with a new cast, but we had a finale that was going to be the last time these four characters were together talking about pop culture in a diner, and we thought it would be nice to give them a proper send-off, and so we wrote it and we filmed it, and then everyone got fired, so no one got recruited. But we're gonna see it now, and it's nice to have this opportunity to say goodbye to this show and these characters and these people who this is
goodbye.
An exclusive for people who are listening now. I'm not going to talk to any of these people again after this.
No.
Wait, does this mean QQ with Soren and Dan is canceled?
Yeah, absolutely.
Daniel, you're my emergency contact.
We're in an obligation together.
All right.
Well,
and of course, by we wrote this, you mean Emmy Award-winning Daniel O'Brien wrote this. This is a Daniel joint, this script. I think it should be noted.
I think everyone was kind to let me write this script, but like writing always feels like a very strange thing to say when we talk about this show, because every episode is it starts with a conversation with the group of us and our directors, and that sort of forms what we end up saying in the script. And like very often off the cuff jokes in these conversations get stolen wholesale and put right into the script. Then we read it and people riff and add things to the read, and it gets rewritten, and it usually gets passed to another writer. So like all of us have touched this script as in the same way that all of us have touched all scripts. So like I'm only the writer in the sense that my name is on the front of the script.
I've been telling people that all my episodes are exclusively mine, came exclusively from my spectacular imagination.
Oh no.
Yeah, the rest of the American Dad writing staff right now is watching this, getting very upset.
Yeah. Like this script in particular, because in preparation of this, I looked at a rough draft of the first version of the script, and there was literally a point where I have one character saying something that is like a very clear setup, and then instead of paying it off with a punchline, I just wrote across the page like, someone else think of a joke for this part. And someone did.
Someone would have, and someone did. All right, then let's revert to that classic format one old time. Jordan, can we get the 4 up?
Yeah.
There we are. Bingo, bango.
So I'm just here at this point to read the across the page. And we paid a lot of attention as you'll know, everyone is
I
in
wonder
their
what she'll
proper
bring.
space. Uh-oh. Katie's doing a thing.
Oh, there's Katie.
Ah!
Yeah.
I have
Ah!
Soren, no Funko. Oh, but Daniel
has
yours.
mine. He's held
I
it.
Is
got
for
that
3
the
years.
fabled birthday present that took 2 years to make?
No.
It's not ready.
Okay.
It's not ready.
This was 4 different
That's so
haircuts ago, and colors.
All right, let's do
Let's
it, you
get
guys.
started.
Let's do it.
Everyone, does anyone need a minute to get into character?
No, I'm good.
I'm also good, Daniel. Thank you for
I'm-
asking. All right, here we go. After Hours, Friend Groups, version 2. This is the title page. By Daniel O'Brien.
Don't editorialize. Stick to the script.
Interior, Los Feliz Cafe. The gang sits at the restaurant they all go to all the time, raising their glasses in mid-cheers.
Hey!
Hey. This is when the person who initiates the cheers is supposed to say something.
Oh, to breaking up as a friend group.
Something positive.
You didn't let me finish. To breaking up as a friend group, which is a natural segue to our next discussion, what fictional friend group would be the most fun to join?
Everyone
Breaking up
mumble.
as a friend group,
Breaking
which
up
is
as
a
a friend
natural
group, which
segue
is
to
a
our
natural
next
segue
discussion.
to our
is
next
discussion,
discussion,
Whatever he
which
said.
fictional
join.
friend group would be the most
pretty
fun
dumb.
to join. Can I drink now?
Cue title card. Which fictional friend group is the best friend group?
Okay, immediately we lose Seinfeld, Cheers, Wings, The League. They're all deeply mean to each other all the time.
I'd add Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris is a piece of shit.
We've already talked about this.
A decade ago.
It's still relevant. Zach Morris should be in jail.
I'd add all of the adventure friend groups too. Ninja Turtles, Scooby-Doo Gang, the kids from Buffy. That Monster of the Week stuff seems exhausting.
Okay, I have one. And I just want to preface this by saying that you guys are going to groan when I say it. And then after I explain it, you'll agree that I made a lot of sense. But again, the groans have been anticipated. Sex in the City.
Oh, exaggerated.
I know,
groan.
me too. Groan also. But if you
All
just
they talk
hear me out
about
a
is
li-
sex. You hate sex.
I don't hate sex. I'm just bad at it. It's not my fault. Sex is weird and scary.
The only sex scenes Dan ever saw were in Species.
What I like about the Sex and the City group is that everyone has a specific function. Samantha is wild and sex crazy. Charlotte is prudish and traditional. Miranda is efficient and work obsessed. And Carrie is kind of basic and boring, but otherwise keeps everyone together.
Haven't we already talked about Sex in the City?
Yeah, I think we have. Remember?
Beat. This would be a good time for a clip of the time they talked about Sex in the City. Instead, we stay on Katie's face as she remembers the time we talked about it.
Yes. Yes, I do.
The point is, I like a friend group like that. Everyone has a role to play. No one is ever competing because they're different enough that their things won't ever overlap. I like any situation where everyone's function is clearly defined and we all just go through the motions until we die.
Sure. But if you were to join that friend group, you'd have to contribute a new perspective that they don't currently have. What would you, Daniel, bring to the Sex and the City gang? What fresh point of view do you have about sex or cities?
They're both overrated. Just read books instead.
Boo! You're out of the Sex and the City group.
In the immortal words of Samantha, the only book I'd read is a book with a dick on it that I could have sex with. Right? I mean, probably she'd say that. Then she'd do a pun, like, oh, he could have his Hemingway with me any day of the week. You know, the sun isn't the only thing that rises or goes down. Catch my drift. They do puns on that show, right? I only kind of watched one episode, but I feel like that gives me enough information to know that Samantha would fuck a book and then make a sad pun about it.
Yes, you get it. That's the show. Stop talking.
Old Man and the Seaman. Oh, the Garden of Hedonism.
You know a lot of Hemingway books.
I know. I'm shockingly well read. I used to do a podcast about books that's frequently 2 hours long. Anywho, what about Friends? The Friends from Friends?
We already talked about that too. We did a whole thing about it.
Oh, yeah, man. Covered a lot in those conversations. Do you guys want to reflect on some of our favorite moments from them right here?
Well, that would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just fondly remember the most interesting or fun moments from our time gathering together and talking about pop culture for the last several years.
Bet we're gonna remember some pretty cool stuff.
Plus some things that would seem really funny and weird if you just popped them in out of context.
Okay. Let's hit it.
We do not turn to clips. The cast just thinks about different memories.
Boy, that was fun.
I think I'd like to join the One Tree Hill gang.
Weird choice. I love it.
It's a show populated exclusively by beautiful people where the stakes are always high and almost all problems are settled by basketball prowess.
Sorry, all problems are settled by...
There was a storyline that the writers pitched that ended up on the cutting room floor about a bomb in the middle of town that could only be deactivated if someone shot a basketball-shaped thing into a basketball net-shaped thing in the middle of the bomb. And the conflict was, hey, which one of these beautiful basketball boys will be the one to take the shot? I live for conflicts like that.
That storyline got cut for being too out there? Didn't that show have a storyline where an errant dog ate somebody's heart transplant?
A clip of that.
That show was perfect. The characters were named things like Peyton Sawyer and Haley James and Brooke Davis. Those are hit names. Soren Bowie belongs in that world.
There was also a character named Mouth McFadden.
Yeah, and an episode with a hostage situation. The stakes are too high, even for you.
There were actually 2 hostage episodes.
Plus, you have to live through failure years. Season 5 jumps ahead 4 years, and everyone comes back from college a depressed loser. Peyton has a failed music career. Nathan gets drafted by the NBA, but then gets a serious injury. One of them became a basketball coach. Everyone's depressed. Even if they all eventually have a happy ending, you'd have to live being a real sad loser for a while.
Yeah, there's too many kidnappings and gunshots and heart attacks. It's a pain. It's dramatic.
All right, fine.
What about the Stranger Things kids?
That's less dramatic?
I mean, they support each other. When they fight, they talk out their problems. They're the only voices of reason in a crazy world.
Yeah, but it's pre-puberty. We shouldn't include any friend groups before puberty because puberty, changes everything.
Yeah, it's true. The Stranger Things kids are friends now, but when they're playing D&D, but as soon as one of them hits puberty, Mike is going to get angry and just docks 11.
Oh, the Upside Down will be their version of the red pill.
Dustin will get hooked on drugs.
Yes, the direction of time is terrible. So Stranger Things is out. What about How I Met Your Mother?
What? What about it? I think it was one of my birthday parties. If I recall, you guys seem to get along. Why?
Oh, no, we did get along. I love Ellen.
Yeah? But? Is there a but coming? You love my mom, but what?
Hold on.
No, this matters. You have something to say about how you view my wonderful mother, and it's apparently so important that you have to interrupt our very cogent pop culture conversation to do so. All right? Out of nowhere! Out of fucking nowhere!
I meant the television show How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah, I love that show.
I know.
Yeah, it's about a group of friends.
I know.
Oh, but on closer look, are they really friends? This viewer thinks it might be a little more complicated.
Yeah, they are friends. They share holidays together. They scheme together. They're genuine pals.
Are they, though? I mean, everyone on that show mocks everyone else for the things they're passionate about. Plus, Barney is like a full-blown sexual predator, and no one ever calls him out on it except, weirdly, him.
Clip. Barney says an awful thing and then says, "Why did any of you hang out with me?"
Good question, Barney. You're a piece of shit monster throwback, bro, that no one should want to be associated with.
Yeah, I mean, Barney's definitely a bad person, but Ted's no picnic either. Across 8 years, almost every single conversation seems to be about whether or not Ted can find a date or get laid. He's single, and he's made that everyone's problem. Every night, the group of friends needs to get some update on their boring friend's dating life. And he makes bold declarations about it, too. Like, he makes a big announcement when he decides he's not looking for anything serious. And then another big announcement when he decides he's ready to settle down again.
Relevant clips.
Everyone has to spend their lives focused on finding Ted a girlfriend. But, newsflash, Ted, Robin is a fucking famous TV personality. Marshall and Lily have a kid. Barney does magic. Ted, you are the least exciting person in your friend group. Can we talk about something other than your failed, boring love life for a change?
I know we just voted out pre-puberty friend groups, but what about the Rugrats?
What? Babies? Why? That's the most pre-puberty. Also, it's the same problem as How I Met Your Mother. You're at the mercy of another leader. Being a Rugrat is great if you're into Tommy's shit, but what if you're Chucky? He legitimately never wants to go on any adventures because they make him uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter because Tommy's in charge. There's never an episode where all of the babies just do something Chucky wants. I think it would go a long way if one day Tommy was like, we've done a lot of my bullshit. Today, let's sit and look at pop-up books and rub our hands on textures that are pleasing to the touch.
What is he, autistic?
Cartoon Chucky or real life Daniel?
Would the answer change if I picked?
My point is, you're a slave to Tommy's agenda and his idea of fun.
All right, I grant you that the Tommy is in charge, but what I want is the shared mental universe. I mean, the babies literally share a linked imagination. That's what I want. When they go out in the yard and play and decide that they're in a jungle, they are literally in a jungle. They all see the same jungle. They all get mixed up in the garage, and as long as one of them thinks they're actually on the moon, then they all really believe that they're on the freaking moon. They're so close that they have like a baby telepathy going on.
Fun fact, baby telepathy is a real thing.
I guess you could put Muppet
cares?
Babies in that category too.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Really? No one wants to know more information on the baby telepathy thing I just sort of casually threw out there?
Katie,
No,
go.
in both cases, you're dealing with a group of friends who all get to live in the same shared imagination where anything is possible.
You get to pretend you can fight space monsters together.
There's music and dancing.
And no one has to have sex because you're babies or Muppets.
Do the Muppets not have sex, even as adults?
Ralph
Fox.
All right. So, is that it? Is that one? Does that win? Rugrats or Muppet Babies? That's the best fictional friend group?
Yep. Time to pay the check for the last time and head on out of here to our new cities and jobs.
Chicago, to be a sports writer, which means I write what gets to happen in sports.
San Francisco, to fulfill my dream of running a Buffalo Wild Wings that also serves pie.
Somewhere in Amsterdam, where certain laws are different. Job currently unspecified.
And as for me, also Chicago, waiting tables and telling Soren he's doing a good job.
It's crazy that literally all of us are moving at the same time.
New cities, new experiences.
Knew everything.
Yeah, how do you guys plan on making friends?
Easy and immediately. Once I was driving through Oregon and there was a gas station attendant who pumped my gas, and I ended up being best man at his wedding. I was this year named homecoming king for a school I've never been to.
We improv over credits about how we're going to make friends.
Yeah, we do.
And that's an episode.
There was
Bravo,
much
gang.
debate about whether to actually improv or not.
Yeah. That
We
is-
ended up not.
It is normally how every episode ends. Every episode ends with the writer of the episode giving up at the end, just be like, and then they fucking talk over credits.
Right. Well, we have a moment where we're like, that was clearly the moment. There's the thesis of the episode. Whatever you want to do after that is fine. Just
Right.
Just talk.
Soren's funny, right? We fucking pay him. Have him say something.
Let that monkey dance.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of checking on our charity, during the course of the read, we went from like $2,600 to $3,775.69. They're just keeping
Oh my
that 69
God.
in there.
Thank you so much, folks.
Incredible. You can find the donation link in the video description. Keep it coming, y'all. But it's time for like a Q&A, right? We're just going
I'm
to chat.
gonna cry.
Yes, indeed.
I
Yeah,
know. For CDC coronavirus response, we should
No,
also
don't
say.
make me big.
Yes.
Don't make me big when I'm sad or happy, but like crying.
Do
Stop
it.
making me big.
Isn't that a Dolly Parton album? Don't make me big when I'm sad.
It's fun fact. She wrote "Don't Make Me Big When I'm Sad" and Jolene in the same day in like 4 hours.
No.
Amazing.
A triumph
bless Dolly
of country
Parton.
music.
Abe, are you down to throw questions at us from chat?
Yeah, I'm trying to read question. There's so many questions while we're doing it.
Sure.
Yeah. They're scrolling fast.
But
Let's give-
I can't get them all. So re-type in your questions, people.
Yeah. Let's
You
give
got
Abe
the
a minute
faces.
to. Let's give Abe a minute to look through those questions and pick
Okay.
some good ones because we're not going to answer any of the bad ones. But how did you guys feel reading that episode again for the first time in 2 or 3 years or whatever it's been?
It's weird. It feels like eons ago. Well, I think about like what has happened just for all of us in the last, 2.5 years, 3 years.
Mhm.
Just everybody's in different places. Soren has another child. Michael's in San Francisco. Dan won an Emmy. I live in a 1-bedroom now. That's nice.
Oh, great.
I don't know. It's just, it's crazy how much can happen in 2 years. I guess for me that's what I
I have a good
realized.
question, by the way.
Yeah, baby.
Everybody, feel free to answer this. What's your favorite episode topic? Or favorite episode you ever did?
I really liked doing Batman an awful lot. It all kind of feels like well-trod territory at this point because it was so many years ago, and I think a lot of people are like latched onto the same aspect of Bruce Wayne doing a lot better for Gotham than Batman ever could. But at the time, it felt like a very cool new idea that we had come up with, and I really liked getting to defend Batman and getting to dress as Batman.
And we got to
mine's
smooch.
costume based too. That's
we
true.
did.
I really liked dressing as Count Chocula just because it was rare on the show to go then watch the episode and be like, wow, I'm in a whole, God, we did a whole thing. So those ones stand out because the rest are like a long blur of looking across the table recording in whatever clothes you happen to have on. So I always remember them by like, I remember that one because I was wearing a wacky costume. I don't remember the topic, but I was dressed as Count Chocula. I also like the one where I have a head injury and Soren picks me up at the end. That was fun.
You were very funny in that episode. Who wrote?
I know I can speak for Daniel here. Daniel, you don't have to answer this question because I already know your favorite. It's when you got to dress as Tobias as one of the Blue Man group.
Nope.
And you were completely in blue, and it got everywhere on the table. You couldn't touch anything. You weren't allowed to go anywhere. You had to sit at the table the entire time and then fall over backwards multiple times.
This was incidentally the same episode that Michael was Count Chocula. We're talking about the same episode where he had a really great time, and I was miserable because for hours before taping, 2 women I've never met in my entire life and haven't seen since sprayed blue paint into my ear holes and just like did that for a while. And they were like, we're not done yet. And I was like, I think we got it, but we didn't have it. And
They kept going.
they just kept going forever. And then I was blue for a very long time. And I couldn't, I'm not like, it's not a show that requires a lot of active movement or anything like that. But we happened to make the episode where I was covered in blue paint the episode where I get physically pushed out of my chair twice, which as soon as you put hands on the blue paint, paint gets removed and then you have to respray me again. And also I was finding that if I tried to move my arms like this high, like if I was going to be like real crazy and dramatic and wanted to do something like this, then it would like rip the paint here and I'd need to get my armpits painted again.
The palms of your hands had trouble too, yeah.
Yeah. And like anytime I put my hands on the table, the paint would stick to the napkins on the table. It was not my favorite day on set.
And you have to understand, this was at a time in our lives where we were working within the context of like at work when we shot a sketch, we would get chewed out because one of the real workers with a real job would be like, you adjusted the height of my office chair. I don't like that. So when we got blue paint on a public property, we're like, I don't know, adults are going to come beat us. Like, I don't know. We were very nervous about it.
My
just
favorite
like how I
Answer
episode.
the question.
Good.
What?
Good.
Oh, I was just gonna say my favorite episode has to be the one where Soren is sick. I it is my favorite episode because Soren is such a specific character, and I just loved seeing Soren the person get to really be a weird character. There was a take in one take he had to sneeze out or like spit out feathers.
Yeah.
And it had to happen so perfectly, and it did. And that's the only time I think I was distracted in like an episode because you were just so funny. I can't remember what the context of the episode. Oh, it was it alternate universe?
Alternate dimensions. Yeah.
Yes. There we go. That was my
Which is
favorite.
also the one where we had that deeply buried joke where Daniel does a good impression of someone and alternate Soren is like, you lost your gift, because he usually loves Daniel's bad impressions.
Yeah.
Super good.
That was a fun one.
Daniel, you didn't answer. Do you have an episode you love?
I think it's this is less topic and more about like the kind of ways we would shake up the show every once in a while, and it's very similar to Katie, which is like giving someone a new fun thing to do. So it's less about the topic and it's more about like Soren gets to flex this muscle about being silly and weird for the first time. And the one that I'm thinking of is, I can't remember if it was who wrote it. It was I think either Soren or Jack who wrote which reality in a TV commercial would you want to live in? Who wrote that?
Jack did.
Jack did? Yeah.
Okay.
I think I liked that a lot because Katie had a thing the whole time, which is that she was very hungry. And so she just got to like be an actress for a while and not just like spouting essay answers. And that was always fun for me when we would shake it up from like point of view, counter point of view to like point of view, counter point of view. Also person with a point of view who like has another game that they're allowed to play. That was always fun for me when we did that on the show, which happened rarely.
I have to watch
also,
that
yeah,
one.
when
Is
Michael
that
has
the
his
one?
head injury.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
another
same
example
one,
of like, yeah, Michael having a head injury was really fun.
Same thing, rather.
Because he
Yeah.
got to, yeah.
I would have said that about the desert episode, but it was so damn hot that was not pleasant, no matter what. But
Yeah.
I liked the one where we were camping and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, camping was fun. The desert was not fun. You can watch that and like, I'm very clearly sick. You can hear it in my voice that I'm deeply ill at that point and filming in 110-degree heat.
Yeah,
And,
you were just getting over sickness, and I was just getting a fever that day. We were like two sick ships passing in the night.
By the way, guys, we have some news that just came in. We have raised our goal for the CDC Foundation, and add on top of that $830.
Hell yeah, we are at 58.30 and 69 cents.
58.30.
That's right.
Goodness gracious, you folks.
Not bad.
We answered one question.
So we expect to be at 10 by the end of the second question. What do you got
Yeah.
for us, Abe?
What was your favorite gag, physical comedy or otherwise, from the series?
Well,
We already
know
said
mine.
Feathermouth, but it is up there.
Feathermouth, yeah.
Yeah. I think Feathermouth is with the fans too. It's very beloved.
Is there any like Easter eggy gags or something you want to call out? Something you maybe people noticed?
Go ahead,
This
Daniel.
is I'll only bring this one up because it's not it's my favorite thing because none of us had anything to do with it. In the Batman episode from season 1 or 2,
Yeah.
you can see in the background of a shot just a person delivering Chinese food to the restaurant. He is not supposed to be in the show at all, but like we're drawing a little attention to the window in that episode because there's a gag where Soren and not Soren, Michael and I are walking by the window and like we spot something that happens inside the restaurant. And so there's already a little bit of attention played to the window that normally gets completely ignored. And then just some random guy who didn't sign a clearance to be in this show walks into frame with Chinese food in his outstretched hand and looks direct to camera. And it's only there for a little bit, but it's my favorite fucking thing in the whole series.
In that same episode, is or either that or the pilot. I don't remember which, but you can see my mom out of focus in the background, and I say some line about presumably how I want to fuck everything in sight or what have you, and you can see her go like she's scandalized by the shit that's coming out of my mouth. Yeah, I enjoy that moment. But the delivery guy is probably the best ever moment. Yeah.
That's Batman. That's when we were smooching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that was a fun
Any other
one.
additions? We got more questions.
I'm trying to think of other Easter eggs, but I don't think any spring to mind. Running by with the flag was a pain in the butt. I remember that. And as we said in the pre-stream, I really like in the musical episode the choreographed dances that happen through the window. We did eventually do stuff with the window, and then we stopped because it was too hard.
Also,
I really
I feel
liked-
like Justin
You go,
Vire, who directed the first season or maybe the first 2 seasons of the show and was like very instrumental for the look and the feel of the show. He put a lot of time and effort into background stuff. Like you'll see in the episode where we're talking about in the Batman episode, Cody is the waiter and he is doing like half of his shirt is black and half his shirt is white as like a vague Two-Face reference. And Cody is dressed up sort of as Mario, as the chef, when we're talking about the Super Mario Nintendo series of games. And just like Justin planting things that no one ever points to in the show, but like there is some intention behind the dressing of everything that he did in his run of shows here.
Yeah, we got rid of that pretty quick.
I like there was a gag that I really liked that we pointed out in the pre-stream, which was between you, Soren, and Dan, which was the idea that you always did horrible impressions, but that always tickled Soren.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Daniel did a good impression, that one at that point, you were like, "No, you lost the magic," or whatever.
Dan does a really exceptional Krang. He does like just a dead-on
just one of
Krang
those-
from Ninja Turtles, and that it just doesn't
Dead on
land. with
Krang, was
Soren.
that it?
That's right. It was Krang. Yeah.
It was Krang.
All right,
That's so
another
good.
question.
How long did an episode usually take to write/make?
Make
there's
very
two different
the
answers.
shoot. That's easy. I can explain that quickly. Yeah, we started by shooting 1 a night, and then over time we maxed out at being able to shoot 3 a night. So anywhere from 12 hours to 4 hours to shoot. Writing is a whole different deal, though. How
also, like-
long did you guys find it took you to write one of these? Or I guess we should explain the process, right? It was kind of
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we do is we'd sit around in a room together to come up with, to generate the ideas, which is, I guess, ended up being kind of a writer's room where everybody's pitching ideas. It could be as fleshed out as like, I have this idea about Pixar that I want to tell and I want to explain this. Or it can be as loose as somebody coming in and saying, I feel like we should do something about Ghostbusters. And then everybody just pitches on it and jokes around and comes up with these different arguments. And the theses start to be born from that. And then we would go off and write it for, I think we gave ourselves like a week to write it. And then after that, we'd bring it back in, do a little table read of it. And then it would get a little rewrite, probably from somebody else, unless the person who originally wrote it was like, no, I know what to do. I know how to fix this. And then after that rewrite, we would go and film it, and we'd film 3 all at once. And then there was the whole process of editing, which was huge, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, editing was elaborate, especially with the animated pieces coming in. And in some cases, the clip packages would be 15 to 25 hours of editing alone for like a 4-second segment, but you needed it to prove the goddamn point where you're like, in every show, they always do this. And then our editor has to go watch every show and find 10 examples of them doing this and put them all together. And it whizzes by like that.
I feel like for me, because I wrote 2 episodes, I wrote the TV and movies that are surprisingly like progressive and feminist, and then I wrote the Friends episode. So for me, when I wrote the Friends episode, I already knew what episode everything was in. So I had like an accompanying document with my script that was just like, this is this moment, this is this moment, this is this moment, because I'm that much of a Friends nerd. But then the other one was super hard because, I had seen, that was an example of like pitching the idea in the room and then having everybody pitch different ideas. So it was things like Animaniacs, which I wasn't as well versed in. Super Troopers I've seen 8 bajillion times, so that was easy. But like then having to work with I think Brendan was who I sent the doc to be like, this is what I need from this thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I remember your friend script being incredible because you really are that detailed of like, you make a point and then you say, and then to illustrate that, season 6, episode 13, this time code.
Yeah.
And it was so helpful to Nick Rude, who edited the bulk of our episodes. And then meanwhile, my scripts looked just like the one that you all heard tonight, where it was just like someone makes a point and then the across the page is just relevant clips.
I would always write clips of that, clips of that. Yeah. Good luck, Mike.
I was always amazed though. Yeah. Michael would,
and now I work at a new company. Oh,
sorry, Michael. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that Michael.
I was just going to say at the company I work at now, they don't allow me to do that, and it's terrible. Now you.
I was going to say that the writing of it, a lot of times it could go really quickly. You could write it in a night, maybe, if you like really buckled down and spent the whole night writing it. But there were other episodes that were just, it was too complicated to even try and do that, and all the research that went into it. So like Michael would get really into the research in a way that was so, it was like a genius. It was like Michael he did a Simpsons episode. He did a,
Matrix.
Matrix. I always think of the Matrix.
I was like, don't say it. Yeah.
It's like he just went into these worlds and like found details that no one had ever noticed before. His deep dives were incredible. And then he would come out of it with like a coherent script.
I felt bad because he would always come in and be like, I've got an episode. It can either be a 9-minute episode or it can be 3 40-minute episodes. And we're like, 9 minutes, please. Get the fuck out of here.
And it would be something where I was almost begrudging. I just remember the Matrix one especially because I don't care that much about the Matrix. And I came in going like, I noticed something and I accidentally tugged at some threads. I think I can do a Matrix episode, but like I don't really want to. It's going to be a lot of research about mythology and coding and shit, but I guess it's there. Although it was nice when the purview was shrunk, it was always a battle for who's going to have a hard time, the writer or the editor. Because the harder the writer works, the easier time it is for the editor downstream. And that's all I was saying is where I work now, the editors would not deal with that shit. We have to write notes about this clip goes here. We can't just be relevant clips. Or at the end of Cracked, I love people would start writing like external spaceship. Cody clings to a hull and his body disintegrates. Zoom in. It's a diner. Like shit like that. And the freelance editor would be like, this is very unhelpful. I don't know what I'm supposed to be showing you.
We got so Dave Bell just asked you all.
Hi Dave, happy belated birthday, Dave.
Yeah, happy belated birthday. Real question, and this might need you guys to put on your thinking caps. What topic would you love to cover since the show has ended?
I would 100%.
The finale is. Sorry. Finale's already dated. That's all.
Yeah. I was just saying I would 100% write an episode about Criminal Minds. It's just now I know way too much about Criminal Minds, and I feel like I could write something about it.
Mm-hmm. We got another question.
No, that was a good question. I think
No,
we're
you
all
wanna
just
keep
trying to
going?
think of it.
I think, yeah, 'cause, like,
I'll give
I-
you some time. Let me put my finger on my mouth
Yeah.
and ponder for a second myself.
I have an answer that might be a terrible episode of After Hours and might end up being too serious. But I think one of the things that I've seen, just like a trend I've noticed, broadly speaking, about the culture of film and TV criticism on the internet over the last couple of years, is that it moves very quickly towards talking about a thing as a way of tearing it down, like finding out what's the worst thing about this beloved movie. And I understand that Cracked and After Hours had a huge part to play in that shift, but I don't totally agree with it. Like the new version of After Hours that I would do now would all come with some caveat of like, by the way, we love Ferris Bueller and we love the Disney movies. Like we, all of the criticism that we attempted to do with After Hours and with Cracked and OPCD and all the other stuff that we did on that site was like more an experiment in close reading and finding new ways to explore something familiar than it was as like a treasure hunt to destroy something. And I think some of that part of the critical discourse has been lost on the internet a little bit over the last couple of years, and now it's more like Ferris Bueller is a sociopath, so no one should like that movie. And it's like, no. The reason that I can write a thing about Ferris Bueller being a sociopath is because I watched the movie 400 times, first being completely on board with what the director wanted me to see and enjoying it. And then I like gave you an alternate reading as a way of showing you how much fun we can have with text if we present it differently and not in a way of like destroying something. So I think new After Hours for me would always have like, before we get into why The Simpsons is bad, we all like The Simpsons, right? Okay, good. Let's go.
Right, because it's, of course, Surprise is built on like rapid contrast. So it did, I think, become a recurring formula of the protagonist is secretly terrible or the antagonist is secretly right or sympathetic or whatever. And I think I've seen branches of people, take that to mean we're tearing shit down, right? We're tearing shit down. And it's like, sometimes we were just trying to give you the opposite because it seems fun. It's just fun. It's just an exercise in thought. And
right.
Yeah.
When we talk about Beauty and the Beast, I'm using the show as a way to trick you into reading a college essay that I wrote. I'm not seriously thinking like when I have a kid someday, I'm going to sit them down to watch Beauty and the Beast and be like, before you watch this, just know that this is about Stockholm Syndrome. So she looks happy, but she's miserable and it's bad. All right, now let's watch.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm going to steal one that I actually have the thesis because we recorded a podcast on it, but it would totally make a good After Hours. And I sat on it for 3 years because I wanted it to be an After Hours, which is that I think it's comparing Doctor Strange and Into the Spider-Verse, which are secretly the same movie, but one is the definition of teaching empathy using film, and one is the definition of the opposite, of teaching like factioning and disdain and splitting people apart. So it'd be like a compare and contrast those two movies. I think that would be a good After Hours, but we waited too long and I just podcasted it. Fuck it.
Did we wait too long or did everyone get fired?
We waited too long, I think, is the thing.
I'm doing a lot more reading of kids' movies, kids' books, and watching kids' movies. So I would probably do the old Curious George books are pretty extraordinary. The Man with the Yellow Hat is not a very redeemable figure. He's not like the jovial, fun guy that you know. He's a guy that goes off on safari and catches a monkey and takes it home. And
That's a classic After Hours. Yeah.
the monkey is, I mean, it's sad on the boat, but he's still a little curious. And bad things happen to George in that world. It's not like the world that's built now where George is like, he's fairly safe. And even when he's like flying, he's being carried away by a kite. In that world, he would fall off of a fire escape and break his leg. Like that was just part of the story. Or there's a story where he goes to the hospital for a completely different reason. He swallows a puzzle piece, and there's another little girl at the hospital who is just sad. And they go through like the problems that everybody else has, all these other little kids at the hospital. And there's the girl Betsy who is she's sad, and they're like trying to they explain why she's there, the specific thing that made her sad, but they're like trying to get her to do paintings and stuff like that. And the payoff is that George makes her laugh at the end, and everyone's like, oh, she's better. It's pretty dark.
Do you know what's funny is there's an episode of Friends where Marcel eats a Scrabble tile and has to go to the hospital, and I'm pretty sure they got that from Curious George.
Was the curiosity? I never realized Curious George's curiosity screwed him over constantly. Was that always the plot? Like that he gets in trouble? Something bad happens? Oh,
always. Yeah, something. And the bad thing became a lot easier to cope with in the later iterations of Curious George. But the very early ones, things go desperately wrong for him. He goes to jail for a little bit. He smells some ether and gets knocked out. Things go badly.
What does he go to jail for?
Oh,
stealing ether, dude.
Oh no, he went to jail for, I can't remember. I don't remember if that was the one where he snuck into someone's apartment and painted the entire place like a jungle, and they caught him and took him to jail. Or it might have been that he called 911 by accident, and they took him to jail for that, and then he had to escape jail.
Amelia Bedelia is clearly manic. Yeah, let's beat this out. We could get an After Hours out of this. No, God, no.
Wait, let's see. We'll beat out an After Hours about Curious George from the past if we reach a certain fundraising goal. How about?
Oh yeah, how are we doing?
We at?
Let me refresh.
Let's refresh. $6,576.69.
I would like you to break it down, Michael, so that you can just do the math in your head so that it can be 420 cents each time. I would appreciate that.
The number.
So that the cents number can be 420?
Yes, you're gonna have to figure it out with the
reinvent math and
how many 420s?
Yeah.
How many 420s? Nice. I kind of want this to be a lightning round, but I do want to know the answer. What supervillain would you want as a romantic partner?
I'd go Mysterio, because I don't care about... I would also eat the steak in Matrix, by the way. I don't care about the difference between truth and perception. So I'd do Mysterio, and I'd be like, Mysterio, babe, ballhead, just project a sweet life. I don't care if we're living in a tenement under a bridge. It's fine. We think everything's great. That one.
That's a good answer.
Hexus from Fern Gully.
Oh.
I love that.
Yeah, Toxic Love is a fuck song in a children's anime film.
Is it just the sultry vibes? It's just
he's just like he's
oozy.
oozy, and even as a skeleton, he's like very he's got the moves. And if you watch Toxic Love on YouTube, just scroll through the comments. You can tell I've watched it many times on YouTube, but if you scroll through the comments, it's a good laugh. Because everybody's like, "Oh, this is sexy. What happened?" Like weird sex thoughts as a child. Too horny for.
See, girls always like the toxic guys, literally.
Yep, I like ooze.
I like ooze.
I like ooze.
Gross.
Yeah, that is Tim Curry. That's a very solid choice. Yeah.
Remind me, romantic or sexual? What was the question?
Deep in thought.
Yeah.
Romantic, I think, was the prompt.
Oh, I thought it was sexual. That's
romantic partner, but I think you take the question out for a spin, Daniel. You do you.
I want to answer the question as it's posed.
What supervillain would you want as a romantic partner?
Okay then, Poison Ivy.
She's very romantic.
She's
Why?
very
Why, Dan?
romantic.
Why, Dan?
I mean, there's some element of what Michael was talking about, where even if I'm not in love with her, she can trick me, so I feel like I'm in love with her. So that's sort of like a love matrix, where it's like at the end of the day, what does it matter? I think I'm in love, and I will ape all the characteristics of a person who is in love because she did her magic plant potion on me, and that seems like it'll be nice. And also, I just in my later years, I've become like a plant and flower guy. Just seems nice.
Oh, that's an undervalued point. It would make it so
Yeah.
much easier. Jen Garden's very like aspirationally, and it's way harder than I thought. It's a pain in the balls. Yeah, if your partner could just be like, "Sure, I will grow it for you," that would be amazing.
Do you guys know who Sarah Sanderson is in Hocus Pocus?
Yes.
I don't.
It's
I knew
Okay.
Sarah
you would
Jessica
know the
Parker,
answer,
right?
but-
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
And that was an early crush for me, and I think that still has like some resonance in my life. And she's on board for everything. She's a little scary, and I like that.
It didn't bother you as a kid that she was evil?
No, but the witches.
Yeah,
aren't-
Soren,
don't really
were you at all turned off by the fact that she was blonde and white? Was that a problem for you at any point?
All right, fucking Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Let's go with that. Is that a better answer?
Ursula
that a
fucks,
better
guys.
answer?
I don't know what you're talking about. Ursula fucks.
Oh, that's my answer.
Okay,
He just
flag
took
this for
my
animation.
answer.
Ursula fucking Rolf, but Rolf is drowning because they have to fuck underwater. Log it.
He's singing.
Oh,
yeah,
we
he's
should-
singing. I hope that something better comes along, and drowning.
We should briefly, because we've talked about the amazing directors Justin Vire, Abe Epperson, Adam Ganzer, and Moana Shril, and editors Nick Rude, who've worked on the show. We should also talk about the animation process, just because we're here talking about After Hours. That the same way that we all get together to talk about scripts, we all get together to talk about what is going to go in the animations, what we want to see, and then we kick those ridiculous ideas off to our amazing deep bench of illustrator animator talent, and then they turn over gold for us. We've had Anthony Clark, who writes as Nedroid. We've had Star Hodge, who you can find online by putting those two words together. We've had Matt Bars for a couple of the early seasons. We've got, and then someone else is gonna take this ball and
Brett
Brett
Herholtz.
Herholtz?
There we go.
Yeah.
Brett Herholtz
Yeah.
is the one that always
Winston
sticks in my
Roundtree.
mind. Because I
Winston
love
Roundtree.
his style. Winston
Winston
Roundtree.
Winston Roundtree, my
One of
collaborator
the
for
only
life.
two people still contributing to the Cracked Video channel. There are still occasionally Winston Roundtree joints. Those are all the ones I remember. Nedroid? You said Nedroid, right?
I did, yeah.
And then we
Soren,
also had people doing a lot of. Go ahead.
who did we get from XKCD? Not
Oh,
XKCD.
Cyanide and Happiness.
Cyanide and Happiness. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and we also had some really great actors who continue to show up for this. Like Samantha Bowling was somebody who was a waitress in this very frequently. Towards the end, last few seasons, it was always her as the waitress, and she was wonderful. And started to have sort of a part that you start to carve out a real personality in the person.
Yeah.
And then also Cody Johnston, who was integral in writing a lot of these episodes, editing, I mean, like doing the second pass in the writing of the episodes, and was in so many of them. And it's different when we're sitting there and we have a lot to do during the scenes, and when there's Cody in the back who's like got to do something very specific and very subtle until the sun comes up. That's like not an easy job, and he was great all the way through.
No, yeah, we're doing a bunch of
Yeah,
lines, and then it's like, hey, Cody, pretend to flip a cheeseburger for 3 hours at 4 in the
Right.
morning.
Starlene as well
Yep.
was the waitress for a while, and Noah Byrne was the cook for a
Byrne.
while
Vanessa Sherry was a
while he
waitress
lived
for a
in
while.
Pasadena's with us. Yeah, Vanessa as well. There's just a lot of people who were there day in and day out, despite the fact that we were shooting from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And that all that they
most-
were going to
almost
get
every time.
was to walk around in the background. Or if
Yeah.
in some episodes make one joke. It was quite a
Yeah.
commitment
Mhm.
that we asked the
Mhm.
people. And they did it. I'm
Yeah.
touched.
Bow.
Someone has asked multiple times, so I want to bring it up because it's true. Where can we see Katie Willard these days? I know Soren and Dan have quick question with Soren and Daniel. Of course, you're watching this on the Small Beans Network. Katie, I also wonder that as your friend, because you gig around a lot, what are you up to right this second?
Currently, I'm producing Close Up, which is an entertainment news show on Quibi, and we have it every day, and I really enjoy it. It's E's daily show on Quibi, and so for a long time I was producing red carpet stuff for E. So I'm more behind the camera right now, but I like doing podcasts. I like doing, Gamefully Unemployed. I know we were going to try and set up another D&D campaign at some point. I like doing stuff like that. I'll do stuff. Just ask me.
Now I gotta watch Quibi.
Now I got after to do stuff.
Quibi.
I really like the show.
Do stuff.
People have opinions about Quibi, and I get it. But, I thoroughly like the show that I make with
sure.
my team. And Wilmar Fuji and Courtney Tesno are two hosts, and they're fantastic. And
Also, they have the Reno 911 revival.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on there. I think people just, have opinions and like to write think pieces, and it's kept me employed during a pandemic doing something that I love. So,
yeah, there's plenty of criticism to be thrown at Quibi, mostly in Katzenberg's direction, about the hubris of, I'm going to just start this giant thing and it's going to take off immediately, baby. And I've joined in on that criticism, and it's been hugely fun. But at the same time, they're not making stupid content decisions. They're giving money to talented people that I respect and like. So even if it's a weird thing that you watch on your phone, I like that someone is putting funds behind content somewhere.
I super wish we could all pull up Quibi mugs right now and a Quibi wipe comes by. it was
this has
all
been
just,
sponsored by Quibi.
Yeah. All that
the
money you
CDC
donated.
COVID response fund just turns into a Quibi logo. Got you. Speaking of which, we are at $7,083.93.
That's great. What do you think?
Wow.
What should we do if we get to
Wow.
10,000 tonight?
Soren took off his shirt right before the stream started. Could we get some?
I think we should
Don't make
show
him do
everybody
that.
what's in your refrigerators.
Tell him what now?
Oh,
We
What's
should
in
show
the
every. This is just a bit that's been happening in chat. We should show everyone what's in your refrigerators.
Oh,
not gonna
I'm
do
not
that.
moving my thing over there. It's quite
Of course
difficult.
not. Of course not.
I'm hemmed in by a bunch of metal crap right now.
Yeah, but is there
yeah, there are many chords.
something we could do if we get to 10,000 tonight?
We could do
I
the
mean,
beat
bring
out
the
of a
Meaningful in
children.
any way?
Bring the show back. I don't know. Should not have said that.
I
It
think
was
beating out the
Af-
children's
oh, there you
books
go.
episode.
After Hours movie, if we get to 10,000.
If we get 10,000, we will make a movie.
How about we do this again? If we get to 10,000, we'll agree to do this again in a month or something.
Okay,
Not
yeah. If
really.
we
But
get,
Same
with the
episode.
same episode.
no,
like
if we get
maybe
we will write
beat
a
out
brand new
an
episode.
episode.
No, we'll write a brand new episode. We will figure out a way to write a brand new episode. If we get to 10,000 tonight by a certain amount of time, we will write a new episode. Does that sound
Okay.
fair to you guys?
I'd be
Hell
down
yeah.
to read,
I
not
don't-
produce, I assume.
Yeah, just to read.
Yeah.
I don't got nowhere
When,
to be. I'm
uh,
in my house all the time.
That's right. Dan, yeah, you're the one I'm most worried about, Daniel, because you're on East Coast time. It's 10, right?
Yeah, it's 10.
I'm just saying. Someone should just bite the bullet and drop in with a 2,900 donation.
Yeah, let's say
And
if
we'll
we
be good
get,
to go.
I can stick around for one more hour. If we get to 10,000 in one more hour, we'll write another
Alright.
episode. That's
I have a question for
I'm
you.
down for that.
Wait.
I'm going to just say, for the sake of Jordan, the producer, I'm going to bump your pay. Please bear with us. Because I told him this would end at 7, and now we're just fucking him, frankly.
Yeah, and he doesn't have an answer. Like he can't come in and I guess
He
can
could
always just
turn it
pull the
off.
plug.
Yeah,
Yeah, he could turn it off.
True.
That's true.
But I'll give you more than what we talked about because this is boy,
He's doing jokes.
he's doing bits.
This
No.
shit. He's doing bits.
But thank you, Jordan.
Do y'all? So Star actually asked a question before, and I have never actually asked you guys this point blank, but I feel like you are aware of them. You're aware that there's fan fictions of After Hours. Are you aware of them? And if you are, did you read them?
I read the one where it's Agents of Cracked and one of us blows the other one.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
I know there were Agents of Cracked one. I don't know. I didn't know there were After Hours ones.
Are there After Hours?
Oh,
And
yeah,
are they
there are, guys.
Erotic?
And the thing about
Okay.
the thing about the After Hours one is it's like Soren and Dan, or Dan and Michael, or Michael and Soren, and Katie's there watching. Like I never get to have any fun. I'm always just chilling. I snuggle with everybody
get-
afterwards.
You seem like an expert on these, Katie. Do I get pregnant in any of them?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no, no.
I've only
Missed
read a
opportunity.
couple.
M.
but I
Preg's
don't
my
think
favorite
so.
part
really-
of those. There's no point in writing them if you don't do that.
I haven't really dug into it because it makes me uncomfortable for 1,000 reasons. But like I've certainly never read any After Hours ones, but I remember reading early Agents of Cracked fanfic. And for anyone who is listening to this and doesn't know what fanfic is, because they are my parents watching along at home, fanfic is usually romantic sexual encounters written by fans of an intellectual property and then published on Tumblr generally. It's basically a bunch of stories where like Michael and Soren and Katie and me and a bunch of my other real life friends smooch, and it's weird to read. But the thing that I remember my takeaway being from when I read Agents of Cracked fan fiction, apart from the parts where Michael and I were having sex with each other, I remember thinking, that's a pretty good Agents of Cracked episode. They got a real, they got a real ear for the dialogue. They get the banter.
references
They
were on
understand
point.
it.
A few notes.
Yeah.
Though.
It's true. They knew all the references, I guess,
Yeah.
which makes sense, but you still don't expect them to work very hard, and then they do.
Yeah. It's like, this is a
we're-
standard
my-
Agents
my
of Cracked
position on it
episode
is-
until like, then not at all, and then standard episode again.
You guys, we're at 81, 83, 93. Oh no, someone ruined the 69 cents. That's very upsetting, but I'll
Not
live with it if we
cool,
get to 10K.
guys.
It's okay. I told him he could come.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the donation.
More questions?
Yeah. This one could be short or it could be long. I don't know. What was your favorite After Hours pitch that never made it?
I think the Ghost of the Coen
I
Brothers
assume-
episode probably was my favorite. Like this was a running joke that Michael created, that there was a phantom episode that was all about the Coen Brothers and how the entire universe was connected, and the goal of the joke was to never actually pay it off, that we would never reveal that episode at all. But I still, knowing Michael as I do, know that he has a Coen Brothers episode. Oh, hold on. Things are more interesting now.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just so tiny and adorable.
I try. I could have pressed, I bet. Yeah, I'd have to lean on Abe for help with that. But that would be a great one to try to do, is just, we did it with Tarantino, we did it with Pixar, do it with Coen Brothers. I'm sure you could find a way.
Yeah, Swaim, shut up for a couple
could.
seconds. Soren, what does your son think about your toy? Does he know?
Oh, which toy?
The one, oh my
geez,
God,
look
I'm
at
on a
that.
leg.
Do you know who that is? That's Dad. When he was much younger.
And plastic.
That's me.
Oh,
Wow, he's thrilled.
oh my gosh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail this.
Not at all.
No.
He just wanted to come in.
He-
So I let him.
Oh,
He's destined to replace us. He may as well start. Is that his artwork behind you as well?
This is a Soren Louis original. This is what we
That's-
have here is
I thought you were showing
we
off your
have-
kid.
this is the framework of of the Los Feliz Cafe that you would see behind Daniel and me.
Oh
This is
yeah.
somebody in the back table. Oh, they're spiking camera. They shouldn't be doing that. We can't use this tape.
Oh.
And then
It's my
we
fault.
wouldn't use it anyway because the boom's in the shot.
Oh.
Oh, I like how the booth is
Unusable.
representative.
We
It's
all
like
should have done
You're
that.
conflicted in a way. You're separated in half. I like it. I find this is high art.
I also like that you took the time to make the open sign backwards.
Mhm.
It's
Oh, thank
detail
you.
that I think is important. Proud of you. I can't write
Thank
you very much.
backwards ever.
I do have a note, however. If
Yeah.
you want to pan it a little bit to the right, because that would be more representative of the actual shot.
It was a
We
real
would never
issue.
use that much left of frame, but you
I
know.
know.
He
It was a real
did,
issue
and then he was
earlier.
told he couldn't.
It was too heavily featured in the background, and I was only in half the frame, so I wasn't allowed to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Daniel, you look so
89,
concerned.
55.
We are so close, people.
Who's going to get
I'm
us to
just
69
looking.
cents is the real question.
You guys are amazing.
8,824.
Yeah.
so amazing?
I'm looking.
I got another question.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go.
No,
All right. Oh, well, we're just doing this now, so I'm gonna wait for you.
Yeah, Daniel.
No, I said no. Go you.
Okay. What? Sorry, we have like a weird delay.
Best part of the stream.
Was there an episode where your characters had to voice ideas that were polar opposite to your own personal beliefs?
Good question.
My God,
Yeah,
there
all
are
the
just
time.
so many episodes.
Yeah. Tons of times. Well, Soren is not entirely a likable character a lot of the time. So yes, there were several where I was vaguely racist, or somewhere I'm sexist. There are somewhere I have positions on the police that I wouldn't hold in my own life, and I wrote that one.
Yeah, similar as the sex drug fiend character. Well, the drug part I agree with, but my answer would be the opposite of usually when the character Michael answers, well, I would parlay that into filthy alley sex with whoever is around. That's not usually what would occur to me, real Michael Swaim. I would probably, it's usually apocalypse related, so curl into a ball and like cry and hyperventilate, you know, much like yourself. But other than that, if they mean pop culture stuff, I will say that I remember that the Spider-Man episode hurt my heart a little bit because it was like Daniel said, the obvious solution came to be to tear Spider-Man down, and an idea clicked in my brain, like gears coming together, where I was like, oh, it's a warning against technology, and if you view it through that lens, Spider-Man sucks. Okay, well, that works for an After Hours, Spider-Man sucks. And I was like, I don't want to say Spider-Man sucks, but I did it anyway.
Ooh, we're so close, guys.
I think I felt
We just
that.
got a $500. We got a $500 donation.
Oh,
we're
hell
at
Wow.
9682.
From
Shout
whom
out
is,
to
is there
Bernese
someone that
56?
is there
Is that the
someone
one
we
you're
can
looking
shout
at?
out? Yeah, are there some names that we can throw out there?
Bernese 56.
All right.
That's the second $500 donation from Bernese, I believe, unless I'm viewing the
Oh my
same one
God.
twice. Yeah.
It could just be the highest one, but yeah, amazing guys. You are all
Jeez Louise.
amazing.
I don't
love-
have a child, but I have a cat.
There's a bunch of people
Aw.
throwing 69-cent increments at us thinking that will do it, but you have to do the exact amount that will mesh to create 69 cents as the remainder.
Listen,
We're never
I don't
gonna
want to
get there
discourage.
again.
I'm not going to discourage anyone from donating 69 cents if they want to, because like if all you have is 69 cents to give, that's great. And if your neighbor gives 69 cents, and if their neighbor gives 69 cents, then eventually this becomes a
Absolutely.
movement.
Well, it looks like this is going to happen. We're at 9,800. So
I know, this
what-
fucking sucks.
what did
I was
we
not
agree to,
anticipating this.
Daniel?
We're going to write a brand new
What do we
episode of
have to
After
do
Hours,
now?
I guess.
Okay. All right. And wait, isn't the whole point that we just ended it and it's over now? We live in different cities. I guess we could that would make the Zoom call would make sense because I'm in Amsterdam. Should we write it as if you guys are in Chicago and I'm in Amsterdam and she's in
Yeah, this is like
the
they
Buffalo
Saved
Wild
by the Bell, the
Wings?
college years. It's just after we've all moved on several years,
Yeah, we
come
do it
back for
via
like some sort
Skype.
of big chill funeral.
I am
All right,
so sorry
we'll do
for
this.
roping you guys into this thing without checking with you in advance.
It's
If I'm being
fine.
totally honest, I didn't think we'd make $10,000. And now
I
here
didn't
we
think
are.
we'd make $5,000, which is why I set the goal at $5,000. It's amazing. It's phenomenal.
If anyone
It's
wants to
really,
back out and not support the charity, say
No.
so now, please. Sorry.
I think that this is a testament to how great this fandom has been, and it feels funny saying that because we're not, we're not celebrities or anything. It's just a group of people that really liked making a show that we really liked to do and that we had fun doing, and that there are people out there that follow this so fanatically is wonderful. Like I think it was always such a treat when we would go to Comic-Con or places like that where we'd meet people who just knew who we were and they were like, I love the show. And we're like, then I love you. Thank you so much. And the people still after all this time like it so much it feels very good. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
And that's 10,000.
Oh. Wow.
We did it.
$10,000.
Fucking
In fact,
did
that's
you guys.
$10,246.
Wow.
$266. You guys are amazing.
And we've still got,
God.
we've still got
Incredible.
Jordan for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, we got that sweet Jordan money. We got that. Sweet
See,
Jordan
I resent the writing a new episode less than I resent having to go extra time right now. That's the part I don't like. But,
Well, we did it.
Well, we got 10,000. We did it. I want to ask one last question just because I found it was an early question and I really liked it and I thought it would be a good one to end on. Unless we don't want to end and this is forever now. But
well, it depends
the question,
whether they're demanding with their money that we do this again or that we go till 8. I would rather just do this again. But I
Yeah.
understand if people feel cheated. I don't want people to feel cheated.
I mean, we got some momentum going.
Yeah.
we got some momentum going. Here's a great question then. Do you guys have a favorite behind the scenes memory?
Soren and I have the same one. It's
Yeah.
so you work all day because we were often filming this show after like a normal day of work at Crack. So you have your office job from 9 to 5 and then you film from 6 to 6 the same day. And obviously you get a little punchy because you haven't slept in a very long time and you're too old for this at this point. You get really silly. And I will never recall the genesis of this bit for the rest of my life, but Soren and I just started doing impressions of Jean-Luc Picard asking for and prescribing Gatorade to the rest of his staff. And I like there's no, it's like any bit that happens when you're just fucking punch drunk and silly. It doesn't matter. No explanation will be correct. It's 4 a.m. and there are trucks going by, so we have to hold for sound, and we're worried about the sun coming up, and it's just Soren and I sitting there being like, Riker, get me a Gatorade. Blue I want, it doesn't need to be blue, but blue would be best. And now that I'm saying it needs to be blue. I know that I said red would be okay, but blue would really the Arctic freeze blue. Riker,
Computer,
get me a Gatorade.
this new species that we found, it seems to want something. Do you think it could be an ice cold Gatorade?
And like, to be clear, neither
Make
of
it
us
so.
have good Patrick Stewart impressions, and there's not a good
No, you
payoff to
don't.
the
It's
joke.
so
It's
good.
just us like shaking with laughter, pretending to be
It
John.
was always him
John
trying to
Luke.
solve problems. Yeah, solving the problems of a normal TNG episode, but with Gatorade. Just thinking that might be a good solution to the problem.
I love it.
If you teleport the Gatorade, is it still the same Gatorade? It troubles me. I said this during the pre-stream, but there's way more people here now, so I will say probably wandering around the golf course at night, which I think not everyone knows, like on the other side of the diner, it was a golf course, and rapping and have extras come up to me and just politely ask why I'm doing that. Why are you rapping? Like, I don't know. Otherwise, I would fall asleep, is the honest answer. It's my thing I do. I don't know. I'll stop now, though, because I'm very self-conscious.
About you guys talking about the Picard bit is I'm like, I cannot remember this. And you know why I can't remember it is because when it was happening, I was asleep, sitting up opposite you guys, because I could not. There was a point at which I think it was past 2:00 where I just couldn't physically stay awake. And I always felt so embarrassed because I would like sit there and try just like to keep my eyes open. And I just remember they would start rolling kind of all over because I just couldn't fucking stay awake. And it was always your side was the last side.
Naps were
there would be a lot of times where Dan and I would be doing our side, and just we would be talking to Michael, and then we would be just talking to Katie's head or Katie's chin.
I get so sleepy, guys.
I'd fall asleep when they're doing the foundation on your eyes because you have to shut your eyes and like someone's gently caressing your eye, and I would just lose it. Yeah, Gallipo had to wake me up a few times.
Yeah. I do think that's probably
but one of my favorite memories now that it's
Soren's
over.
Got one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Now that it's over, it's nice. When it was happening, it was sort of hell. Food that we eat in it is just, it's like, a lot of times it's just frozen. Sometimes it's wilted and bad. And you just sort of like play with it on your plate for a little while. It's supposed to only look good on camera. It's not supposed to be appetizing for in any capacity. And so it's just fucking disgusting. And based on the canon of the show, because it went on for so long, that restaurant has a bigger extensive menu than the Cheesecake Factory. We ate everything there because they constantly wanted to come up with new stuff for us to have in front of us. And it was so nice when there'd be a day where someone had written into the script that they're just drinking coffee after a meal. You'd be like, oh, thank God. Okay, this is good. This is good. I don't have to have frozen chicken fingers for this one.
I feel like of all of us, you were the most likely to write in something like, Soren has coffee and a slice of mud pie. You would give yourself perks that have no load bearing. Yeah.
Once I figured it out, once I gamed the system, it was that I could put whatever I wanted in there and be like, well, what carries? What keeps? Oh, Soren has chocolate silk pie every single episode.
Guys, I want to return to the food real quick, but just update. My mom says that my Picard impression is very good. So,
good.
Make it so.
I had a wooden lobster.
Oh, you had a wooden lobster. Cents, but we lost it. Never mind. You had a wooden lobster. Please elaborate.
Yeah, there was a wooden lobster one time on my plate. There was like real lettuce and then a wooden lobster at one point.
I think I could certainly trace in the scripts that I wrote where like the first few episodes that I wrote, I was deliberate about what each character was eating because that mattered to me. And certainly on a selfish performance level was like, I'm going to have chicken fingers because I want to gesticulate with the chicken fingers. I think it's going to be fun for me. And then having filmed a few episodes and dealt with the kind of the caliber of food that we're getting, I wrote a lot of scripts where it was like, the gang has just finished eating and they're waiting for the check. And that was it. I didn't want to have to deal with any bad food or any like bad food business where it's like, anytime you write in someone takes a bite of something, then you need to reset that. You need to have 6 cakes for Soren to do the multiple takes.
You guys got a lot of peas and mashed potatoes.
Hi, Jen.
Jordan jokes coming in.
The producer needs water and to pee. I will say, I think we should call it a 7:30. Can I be the asshole and say it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's okay. Look at that sweet dog.
Where are we at with money?
7:21, mainly just because I literally booked the producer for a block of time, and this is Rude.
He may
You
need
know what I
he
mean?
needs to go.
He may have his life unfolding.
He's being real nice about it.
Yeah,
he's being real nice about it.
Yeah. So let's go for 9 more minutes. So fire question, please.
Let me see. I've been having a good time, so I haven't gotten. I've been looking. I don't know, man.
Well, everyone loves a
See,
pup.
Everyone's
It's
just
not going to
reacting
top
to
the baby,
dog.
but
I can't. The dog is too cute. Everyone is just
give us dog. We
give us
must
dog.
have
Is that a
dog.
question?
No. What about the pie? We already talked about that. Katie, did you ever try painting eyes on your eyelids or your sunglasses?
You know,
Terrible.
I
Just
mean,
actually
aw.
what do you think about like talking about the future of like each of your guys' careers and like what you're up to? I know we talked about Katie a little bit, but like maybe like what's the what are you guys gonna do more? Just general plug it type
I
thing.
Guess raise money by the fistful for coronavirus response. This is our life now, right?
Yeah,
I'm down.
obviously.
Yeah, does everyone know? I mean, yeah, Daniel. Come on. People need to
What?
know. I don't know. I assume everyone on this stream already knows what we do. But
Yeah, okay.
Daniel's currently writing for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Sure. I write for that show and I
Soren's-
love it. I
yeah.
love it very much. I'd like to do it for as long as they will let me do it. And they also allow me to do things like this, where we get to reunite with my old pals and raise money for a thing that I care about, which is very nice. And I'm gonna keep doing that for forever, I guess. I
Probably sometime to come, yeah.
yeah. I do a podcast with Soren. It's very fun.
Gotta
It's,
mention.
not very. It's I'm gonna say one of the least essential podcasts that exist right now. It's really, if you just want to listen in on a phone call that Soren and I would have otherwise had, you can listen to the podcast, which is the name escapes me. So
Ringing endorsement for what Dan and I do. Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, that's I think everyone just clamor to their podcast networks and
Well, I'll go ahead and find the social accounts so we can be a little more specific. But while I do that, Soren, you had something to say about the Aryan Nation, I believe?
yes, it's bad. And
It's bad.
It's
No,
bad.
good.
Bad, everyone. Don't do it. Don't do an Aryan Nation.
It's a good point. Fair. Abe and I, some people asked who is the Frozen guy, so I do want to say Abe Epperson directed many, many After Hours episodes and was in the writer's room and did all different kinds of things for After Hours, so that's who that is. And the plight of the director, never in front of the camera, except when he plays Crazy Raoul. And he and I, because we're like longtime hetero life mates and collaborators, we do Small Beans, but you probably know that if you're here because it's on this channel. You're already at it. You could stick around and look at other stuff if you want. It doesn't matter. Katie?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm like I said, I'm producing Close Up, which is E's entertainment news show. Happens every day, Monday through Friday on Quibi, and I think I'm gonna go back to school. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Fun.
For what now?
Yeah, architecture and design.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
it's very
Ted
Fuck yeah.
Mosby. Yeah,
Design
that's right.
degrees are awesome.
Please don't compare me to Ted Mosby.
Yeah, don't put that evil on me.
Fine.
I don't need that.
Please. I feel like you got a nice spot over maybe on the left for a drafting board in that room, Katie. I could see that.
Oh yeah, my
Shit. Yeah, I see
my-
that.
It's look at how cool my fireplace is, guys. I really love
Very
it.
cool. I would like to climb it.
All of a sudden I look like I'm in an anime. Why is everything so like blown out and glowy on me? Did my lighting change?
A lot of people asking how much money we'd have to raise to play Dungeons and Dragons together regularly, and I guarantee you, no amount is high enough. I'm not going to shout people out, but there are people here who would not do that. The end.
Oh, I want to call it out so bad though.
It's you, Abe. It's you.
It's me.
I've never seen anyone get more
$100,000
mad.
and I'll consider it.
If we raise 100 grand in the next 4 minutes, Daniel O'Brien will play a long-running
have
Dungeons
no-
and Dragons
no.
campaign.
100,000, and I'll consider it.
Oh, okay.
Not even.
I
gonna
have never
commit to
seen
it.
Daniel as angry as I did one time when we tried to play D&D together. He got so angry, like viscerally upset. And I just know never to broach the subject with him anymore, ever again.
The dungeon master wasn't letting me spread my wings.
That's true. I agree with you, Dan. You would have
Wait.
had a greater time if we just let you be you.
Was Matt our DM?
I think Matt
Dan-
Bars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Bad.
wow, thrown under the bus.
Was that
man.
our old
After hours
throwing him under the
animator.
bus, Katie?
I
That was at
didn't
our
say
old-
his
old
last name.
Eagle
We
Rock
know a lot of
place.
Matts.
That's
Let's
true.
call him
Could be
M.
any Matt.
Bars.
Yeah, that was at our old Eagle Rock place. I believe, right?
Yeah, it was in
That's
May.
crazy.
Mhm.
Why did we do that? Yeah. That was a bizarre thing that we did. We we wanted so hard for you and like Adam to be a part of it, and it just we tried it on. It just didn't seem to stick.
All right.
Apart from us, there are a lot
Are we
of
done?
cracked expatriates that. Oh, are we done?
Oh, this is good. No, this is good. Let's do this. I agree.
Oh yeah, plenty of cracked expatriates that you know and love who are looking for work right now, or like are working and could always use more work. And we're gonna try to name as many as we can. People who have been let go by a company that one of many companies that had their heads up their asses. Alex Schmidt, Robert Brockway, Sean Baby,
Riley, Katie Golden. Yeah.
Katie Golden,
Teresa
Tom Ryman,
Lee.
David Bell, Teresa Lee, Bridget Greenberg.
Preach.
I'm hoping someone else will throw in some more names.
Carmen
Amanda Manning,
Angelica.
Robert Evans, Carmen
Robert
Angelica,
Evans.
yeah.
Maggie Mae Fish, Jenny
Randall
Nolte,
Maynard. I
All
miss
great
Randall
people.
Maynard.
all incredible people that you should.
Say Christina Newell.
Oh
Christina
yeah.
Newell. Good point.
Nick Rude, all people you
Remember
should hire.
Christina
for
Shu
your-
with the shoebox column? I enjoyed that.
Sandra
column very much.
Sorensen. Guess I remember that name.
But beyond all that, if we're wrapping up here, thank you all so much for doing this. This is not a thing that I think any of us ever had any intention of revisiting, because it was done and then it was done. And the fact that we got to raise money, this much money, that clearly no one anticipated, is
No, not at all.
Not at all.
really heartwarming.
And so we owe you one new After Hours episode that we will write, I guess. We'll figure that out on our own time.
Yeah, let's
Look,
try to
I am
find-
It was
So
nice that
sorry,
we got to
guys.
have this opportunity. This opportunity
We're
to
on the hunt.
culminate everything and like actually provide a bookend to After Hours, and then Dan just knocked the
that
bookend
closure.
down, and now we have to keep doing it. This is just my waiting for Godot.
So sorry.
You're never gonna
Hey.
leave. You can't leave, you guys. You can't
Final
leave.
grand total $11,083, and we did it 69 cents.
69 cents.
Everyone say bye.
Yeah.
Jordan, you're free. You can end the stream.
Love
You may drink water now.
guys.
Bye. Good to see everybody.
Bye.